This is Embrace Your Inner Boldness, a podcast about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. I'm Melissa Henning Frank, coach, guide, and founder of Becoming Bold. I help you strip away the conditioning, reclaim your voice, and rise into the power that's always been yours. Let's get right to it. Hey, thanks for tuning in. This episode is for my friends in HR, and it's also really beneficial to the leaders who they work with. So let's get started with some real talk on HR, strategic partner or professional firefighter. Most of you in HR did not sign up to be glorified paper pushers or professional firefighters, right? You didn't get into this work because you love chasing down signatures or being the go-to person for last-minute people emergencies. You got into it because you care about shaping culture, developing leaders, and helping organizations thrive. But somewhere along the way, HR's role got complicated. And if we're being honest, and yeah, we are, HR got a little bit stuck even. So let's take a quick walk through history. Once upon a time, it wasn't even called HR, it was personnel, and I'm making my fingers do the air quotes thing. Your main job was making sure that time cards were lined up, paychecks got out, nobody got the company sued. It was purely administrative. And then HR as we know it came along. So now you were handling recruiting, onboarding, benefits, policies. Better, yes, but still transactional. You became the department that leaders ran to when they didn't want to deal with people problems themselves. So fast forward into the late 90s and 2000s. This time frame gave us this shiny new concept called the HR business partner. The promise was, finally, HR would be a real strategic partner. We'd use data, insights, organizational savvy to shape culture and drive performance. And today, in theory, HR should be leading the future of work. We should be guiding organizations through hybrid work, AI disruption, DEI efforts, retention, culture change, all of that. That's the vision. But here's the conundrum. They're still stuck back in stage 2, and their calendars don't look like a strategic partner's calendar. They look more like a triage unit. And a lot of the leaders they work with are often happy to keep it that way. I know this because I've lived it. My background is HR, 10 years in core HR roles with sort of a hint of talent development and 6 years of focused organization and talent development experience. And early in my HR career, I remember being really excited about finally influencing leaders, helping shape decisions, and being a real business partner. But what my actual days looked like were a lot different than that. I was neck deep in employee relations issues, payroll questions, fixing manager mistakes, and putting out fires that I didn't even start. I'll never forget this week where I had blocked off time to prep a leadership development program I was really passionate about. By Tuesday of that week, it was already gone. It was swallowed by 3 urgent terminations, a manager who wanted me to rewrite a job description for them quickly, and a last minute, can you just request from an executive? And by Friday, guess how much progress I made on that leadership program? Nothing, 0. And that was my wake-up call. I realized that as long as I kept saying yes to every tactical task, I was never going to make the strategic impact that I came here to make. But when the organization is used to HR saying yes to every request, how in the hell are we supposed to say no? What if your own manager has a hard time letting go of the way it's always been? This is one of those culture shifts that does not happen overnight. But with your influence, it can change for the better over time. So what does a true HR business partner do? You influence at every level. You connect people to performance. And that looks like translating people data into insights that actually matter to the C-suite. It means coaching managers so they don't keep making the same mistakes. And it means building trust with employees so that leaders hear the truth and not just filtered updates. You align the dots, strategy, culture, and people systems, all pointing in the same direction. And you're the guide when the organization is trying to change and everything feels messy. Being strategic HR isn't really about waiting to be invited to the table. It's about making sure that the table isn't imbalanced or lopsided in the first place. Unfortunately, here's what happens. Too often, HR gets in its own way. We say yes to all the wrong things. I've been there. I've done that. We say yes to being every manager's fixer instead of coaching them to handle their people. We say yes to endless admin requests, reports, forms, tasks that could be easily automated. We say yes to running initiatives solo instead of building accountability with leaders. We say yes to always being available for urgent, in air quotes, issues instead of setting boundaries so we can focus on strategic work. Now, before you gasp and tell me that it's important for HR to wear multiple hats and step in as a team player when help is needed, no matter what the ask, let me explain. There will be times when we need to step up, down, all around to keep the business afloat, especially during busy seasons or times where staff is short and work is tall. I don't even know if that's a proper analogy, but it just came out. This should be short-lived, a more short-term situation where all hands-on-deck practices are truly required. That kind of stuff does happen. This is the long-term stuff I'm talking about. It's that constant saying yes to everything because it's easier than setting boundaries and saying no. Think about it this way. Every yes to that busy work is a no to progress. And we can't be strategic if we're constantly playing cleanup crew. So think about this. Are you feeling burnt out? Are you feeling like you can't keep up? Think about your own last month. How many times did you trade a block of time that you had planned for strategic work for somebody else's urgent tactical request? And how often does this urgent stuff pop up? How could that be prevented in the future? How could things be done differently so that these surprises don't get in the way of the good work you want to do and need to do? Another question to consider. Do you think that someone benefits from keeping HR in that tactical box? I'd say yes, and it's not HR. So what happens when HR is in that tactical box? Leaders get to dodge accountability. If HR always fixes it, managers really never have to grow. And then executives get to see us as compliance cops instead of power players. Culture stays comfortable for those at the top because status quo is easier than change. And let's be honest, how many times have you heard, let's see what HR thinks, when what they really meant was, let's let HR take the hit for this decision. But if we're being real here, there's also situations where sometimes they're even very choosy about which decisions they bring you in on. I've worked in organizations where, as their HR person, I was included in every important project and meeting related to people from the get-go. And on the contrary, I've also been in organizations where HR was a last-minute thought, if they were remembered at all. And sometimes it was, I guess we better connect with HR on this, after the decision was already made and multiple conversations were already had. And then guess who gets irritated when HR has to play catch up and mitigate risk for the company by asking questions about what they already decided? They hate that. And yet it plays out frequently. If HR stays on the back burner, leaders never have to feel the heat of their own choices. So how do we change that? How do we stop being the firefighters and become the architects that we truly are? It comes down to daily, monthly, and yearly behaviors. So day to day, get comfortable asking better questions. So instead of, what do you need help with? Or basically what you're saying, what do you need me to fix for you? Try saying, what is the outcome that you're trying to achieve? And tie every conversation back to business results. Really dig into how will this decision affect revenue, retention, or risk. Be very clear about the different options available. Approach it in a consultative way when you're communicating ideas, their benefits, potential drawbacks for each option. And coach leaders in the moment. Don't just take their problem away. Help them own it and solve it with your guidance, but not with your savior, people-pleasing complex. And then month to month, use your data. Turn headcount, turnover, and engagement numbers into a story that leaders can't ignore. Facilitate conversations that connect people problems directly to business goals. How can it get better if we make this better? Run small pilots. Show how one new idea creates measurable impact. Highlight small wins. Share successes that even other similar companies are having with similar initiatives and projects. Become better versed in change management. Continue to build trust and credibility by really knowing and understanding the business and the impact of moving forward versus staying the same, especially when it comes to people. And then year to year, continue building your brand as the driver of culture, not the compliance cop. Think about delegating, automating, and outsourcing the transactional work. Set a rhythm of strategic sessions with leadership. Don't wait for the invitation. Make it part of the operating system as a whole. Culture doesn't shift because of one inspiring offsite meeting or one new initiative. It shifts because HR shows up day after day, month after month, year after year, asking the hard questions, connecting people to outcomes, and refusing to shrink back into that paperwork box. So look, organizations, at least some of them, love to have HR on the back burner because it keeps them comfortable. But HR, you weren't hired to keep people comfortable. You were hired to help people and businesses grow. So stop waiting to be called in as that last resort. Walk in, pull up your chair, start driving the conversations that move the needle. The future of work isn't waiting, and neither should you. If this episode fired you up, share it with another HR pro who's tired of being tactical. Or better yet, share it with your leadership team so that they can hear this and know it's not just you blowing smoke up their hind ends when you start shifting from all yeses to more of a consultative strategic partner approach. Let's raise the bar together. And if influencing and setting boundaries is uncomfortable for you, follow my content on all the socials. Look into my Women Becoming Bold program or connect with me for a 30-minute free consultation. If you mention this episode, you'll walk away with at least one step towards confidence and boldness, even if you're not ready to sign up for one of my personal impact coaching packages. That's it for now. I hope this helped light that fire in you so you can get back out there and be the bold influencer you truly are. And while you're at it, please be kind to your mind. That's it for today's episode of Embrace Your Inner Boldness. If this stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Screenshot this episode, tag me at Becoming Bold LLC, and share it with someone else who's ready to rise. And hey, if you haven't already, take a second to subscribe, rate, and review the show. That's how we spread the boldness and keep this movement growing. Whatever came up for you today, feel the fear and do it anyway. You don't need to wait for perfect timing or permission. You are powerful. You are ready. And remember, the only limit to your boldness is the one you set for yourself. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep becoming you.